Hi, Valerie Knight from 106.1 The Breeze with another exciting interview. The arts in Philadelphia are here at The Breeze, too. I'm very excited to welcome two actors from a play Indecent, playing at the Arden Theatre now through June 23rd. Welcome to Michaela Schuckman and to M.B. Scallon.
Hi.
And they are in the play Indecent. That is, as I said, at the Arden Theatre now through June 23rd. Tickets, by the way, are available now at ardentheatre.org. This play is serious, intense, and the subject matter is, as I said, intense. I'll give it a little description here. It's fresh from Broadway. It won 2 Tony Awards, was nominated for Best Play. The original production won an Obie, Drama Desk, and Outer Critics Circle Awards. And now the play is in Philadelphia. Pulitzer Prize winner Paula Vogel's work is inspired by real events surrounding the creation of the controversial Yiddish play called God of Vengeance, seen by some as influential in Jewish culture, by others as libelous. So let's talk about it. And welcome, ladies.
Thank you so
I don't
much.
want, I want you to tell me about Indecent. Some describe it as a deeply moving celebration that follows the path of artists, risky artists, I suppose. MB, tell us about the play. I told a lot, but can you describe it for the layman, in layman's terms?
Absolutely. And let me talk a little bit about the experience of coming to see the play. The subject matter is indeed intense because this is about a Yiddish play that was a huge hit all over Europe. Then as soon as the troupe brought it over to America, it was considered scandalous and made it to Broadway, but the theater was shut down, the actors were all jailed, etc.
What year was this?
This was around 1923.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, in America, we're a little more uptight here. We still are.
Yeah, our mores were a little different back then as well. But despite the fact that the material is really intense, there's a lot of joy, a lot of celebration, a lot of humor in this play. These people are funny, they're wry. There's great music that is inspired both by klezmer and also by popular songs of the day. So there's music, there's dance, there's a lot of laughter, and then I think it's moving.
MB plays Vera.
Yes.
While Michaela plays Kana, with the Yiddish
yes,
sound.
practice our accents.
Tell us more about it. Controversial from the start. Tell us the plot, because I can see why it could be considered libelous and controversial.
Yes, so God of Vengeance, this play by Shalom, which was written in Poland in Yiddish at the turn of the century, was very controversial because it was about Jewish people. So Sholem was writing for the people in his community, but he portrayed them as what he called, normal human beings who are both who have both positive and negative attributes. So it's about a man who runs a brothel in his basement and hides it from his young daughter that I play until she finds out and actually falls in love with one of the prostitutes. So you can imagine at the time that would be a bit controversial, and especially in a world where, pogroms were on the rise and anti-Jewish sentiment was on the rise. People in his community said, why are you portraying, there's a line in the play, why are you portraying our people as prostitutes and pimps? And he's saying, some of our people are.
Prostitutes.
I'm just
There's
writing
all
what I know.
Prostitutes and pimps in every
Exactly.
race,
and that's
religion,
really
and all.
what Sholem believed, and that he wanted to write both for the Jewish Yiddish community, but also for the masses.
But it's so it has homosexuality?
Yes.
It
was actually the first kiss between 2 women ever on Broadway.
Wow. That's huge. That's big.
Yeah.
I guess in these days, there's not that kind of, people aren't protesting in front of the theater or anything these days.
Not so far. We hope
Yeah,
not.
we have. And also, it's important to note that Indecent is not God of Vengeance. Indecent, the play that we're telling, is a play about a play.
So it's a play within a play. I meant to say that to
Yes.
kind of clear it up, because it's kind of interesting.
It is interesting. So Indecent tells the story of the trajectory of God of Vengeance and the different people. So we both play, I think I play 8 or 9 different characters over the course of the play, all of these different women that come in contact with the play over the course of its history up until about the 1950s.
So in this play, keeping the Yiddish culture alive is a part of what it is as well, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons that Sholem was writing in Yiddish for the Yiddish community. They wanted to create, in 1923, a Yiddish revival and increase the literature, increase the music, so that there was this huge stockpile of Yiddish art that could be shared across the world, not just with the Yiddish community, but outside of the community. And God of Vengeance was part of that big revival.
And he had no idea, but I mean, the fact that Yiddish, 20 years later, was wiped off the face of the earth in a lot of ways, it makes it even more important that we have these written documentations of the language, and that we can talk about it now. I mean, I didn't grow up knowing Yiddish, but it's so exciting to be able to speak the language now and sort of connect back to my culture of 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Were the Yiddish people shocked at the time too, or have they always been a more open-minded people, or many?
I think there was a great variety of
Yes.
reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I think some were shocked. I think some were thrilled.
That's where the libel comes, and where there's the kind of the yin and yang of this play.
Absolutely. And like in any community, there are people who want to move backwards and people who want to move forward. And the same was true in Sholem community.
So a play within a play. So are you? It's kind of hard to imagine. So are you describing in the play what happened in the first play?
We actually do some scenes from it. Michaela and I do a series of scenes where I play her mother. And also Michaela does some scenes that involve the love story between the two young women.
So the love story does happen.
Yes.
It's
It
not
does
just a
happen.
crush. It happens. Mhm.
It absolutely does. And so scenes from God of Vengeance are peppered through Indecent. But Indecent is much larger than God of Vengeance.
The title "God of Vengeance." Where do you think? Can you explain maybe where that came from? I love titles. Titles are what attract me to films and plays.
That's good to
God
know.
of Vengeance. I mean, did God get revenge in the
Well,
first play?
the guy who owns the brothel, the sort of central character of God of Vengeance, is this man named Yekel. And he owns the brothel. He is trying to be a important stand-up member of his community, but he still owns a brothel. And when he suffers a turn of fortune and he feels that his life falls apart, he blames God. And he says, God is out to get me and God is out to ruin me. And he talks about God being a God of vengeance. So another reason the play was controversial is because you don't really say that about God.
No, but we do privately.
Yes.
Many people they're mad at God for many reasons. Life
Absolutely.
Life takes a lot of twists and turns.
But I think back in Sholem community, that was considered pretty outrageous.
So this is some juicy material,
This
right?
is juicy, yeah.
Yeah, and in Indecent, the reason Indecent is called Indecent is because when the sentence was handed down to the actors, condemning them for putting on this play, it said they have put on an indecent. It was they got. I
Yeah.
guess they got. It was because it was indecent. That
Did they go
were
to
arrested
jail?
for
Did
they-
indecency.
Yeah?
The entire cast went to jail, including the lead of the play at the time. And this is, of course, all happening in the U.S. They were never jailed in Europe. The lead at the time was a guy named Rudolf Schildkraut, who was very well known, a German Jewish actor who was a star on many different continents, and he was thrown in jail along with the entire cast.
Wow. Whatever happened? Did they come out and resume their careers, or was it the end of them, I wonder?
I think it was hard. I think there's a line in the play, Rudolf Schildkraut, that was his one chance. He chose to have his Broadway debut in a play written by one of his countrymen. And it basically, there's a line, he will only ever now be able to play the stage Jew on Broadway.
Is this the most intense material you've ever tackled as actors?
No, but it's up there. It's up there.
Yeah. But I do think it's also one of the most joyous pieces that I've ever worked. I mean, it truly, like you said, is a celebration of theater, of the Yiddish language, of Jewish theater, of people who love the arts coming together to make
And of
work.
relying on each other in a community to get through really tough times. And that's where the music comes in. The music in this play is so fabulous.
It's like a relief from the.
It is such
The
a,
hard
and some of it
material.
is original, some of it is arrangements of standards. But it's joyful, it's ferocious, there's a lot of dancing, there's a lot of community singing and dancing. And I think that is as much a feature of the play as anything, is when times are tough, turn to the people in your community and you'll get through.
So we'll hear a lot of Yiddish words, that we know as just people that know a couple of Yiddish words. And so we'll hear a lot of the Yiddish language then.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. We all know a few Yiddish words here and there that we sprinkle into our
They're
language.
very handy.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Like, let me think of one. Like my girlfriend, verkakte. Is
Yes.
that really
Yes,
a word?
absolutely.
And what did Barbara? Verklempt.
Verklempt. Oh yes, we
There's
have
a couple
verklempt
of
a
them.
lot during the play.
So, one more question for you as actors. Since you're reciting the same lines each evening, and by the way, Indecent is at the Arden Theatre through June 23rd. You can get your tickets at ardentheatre.org, and they start at $18, and this just sounds like a fabulous play. How do you, since you're reciting the same lines each evening, how do you bring something different personally to each performance?
Well, I just try to be in the moment and really react to what my fellow actors giving to me. So it really just involves really intense listening. I think listening is the most important part. So if I'm doing a scene with MB and she says a line with a slightly different inflection, that's going to affect how I'm responding with my line. So it's the same line every night and the same, emotion inside me, but maybe how it comes out in that moment is slightly different.
Like years ago, I was a jock for years and years before I became an actor, and to me, it's very similar to sports. So when you're playing basketball, you have a
that
series
kind of jock. I'm thinking jock, disc jockey. You mean you were, okay.
No, not that skilled. So like when you're
thank
playing
you.
basketball, you have a series of plays, you've rehearsed them, practiced them with your teammates, but then once you get on the court, there's a lot of improvisation that happens in this structure. And theater is similar in the sense that all of the words we say, the blocking, which is our movement, that's the same, but we're also playing with each other every night and with the audience.
The audience must have a lot
Yeah,
to
we
do.
had our first audience last night, and it was amazing how much the play came alive because that's the final piece. That's the final part of our ensemble is the
It's
audience
so
being
fun.
there.
They respond, that fuels us, and that means that scene is going to shade a little differently. It's going to be a different shape than it was the night before.
Very exciting. Radio is like that. You have a program, and within the program, the improvisation happens, the spontaneity, if you will. I mean, you have lines to recite, but, well, good. That's a good answer. You answered my question. I'm always curious about that because you're doing the play over and over. So you can be part of this audience and be part of this play, Indecent, at the Arden Theatre. Indecent runs through June 23rd at the Arden Theatre in Philadelphia. Go see it. It sounds wonderful. Michaela Schuckman.
Thank you.
And MB Scallon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, and break a leg.
Thank you.